Well, I mean, that definitely brought memories back, but what's it been? How many years since we graduated? I should just go off of this. Hi all. Welcome to Hockey on Tap podcast. This is episode 6. I'm your host, Bill Dean, and I'm, of course, here with my two co-hosts, Steve Echeverry and Mike Sandillo, a.k.a. Little Steve and Schwim. How long has it been since we graduated? Because that brought back a shit ton of memories.
Happy graduation to whoever's graduating. I'm sorry.
Yeah, good for you guys.
Ceremony.
I'm going to lie about the year I graduated. 2010.
2010. Well, it would have been 03 for me in high school and then 07 for college. So, Jesus, I'm old. But
yeah,
and you guys are older, so haha.
It was sometime around then. We'll go with that. But we did graduate.
Anyway,
I know
we did graduate.
That's a good thing. You have 3 guys that graduated college right here, so we are somewhat informed.
I got my hat taken away in college because I wrote something not that obscene on it. I wrote "College sucks, Gatorade's better." And some lady saw it and was like deeply offended by that, and like, you can't wear that, and took the hat away and gave me a different one.
She must have been a water boy.
That's what I said. She must have been a water fan.
Yeah, water. All right. Well, speaking of water and beverages, why don't we talk about what beers we're drinking? Schwim?
Me first? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Nice. All right. So I am drinking something called Strobe Lights by Stillwater, which is a brewery out of New York. Another one out of New York. It is a double dry hopped IPA, 7%. Not too bad. Has a pretty noticeable smell and taste.
A
little bitter, not bad. I actually read up a little bit about this. The owner or creator of this is apparently an internationally renowned techno DJ.
Okay.
Wow.
So
he's almost as cool as Mika Zibanejad with his hockey and DJing on the side.
Almost.
Maybe.
Cool.
Almost. His name's Brian Strupney or something like that. I forget.
Sounds made up. I don't think you researched this at all.
I think Shrimp just absolute bullshit.
I'm just making stuff up. No, really though. But I looked that up, and apparently he was a DJ and producer. So not bad. I'll rate it right now. I'll give it a 3.5.
Okay. Well, I'm drinking a heavy hitter now by Toppling Goliath. I know a lot of people are familiar with Pseudo Sue. This is King Sue. First of all, the can is awesome. I feel like dinosaurs. The T-Rex is pretty awesome. Double IPA, double New England IPA. Currently has a 97,000 check-ins on Untappd of 4.38 rating. So I'm super excited to drink this guy, as I love IPAs. And Toppling Goliath has never led me astray. I will let you know at the end, unlike this guy over here.
I just went right for it.
Boozing early.
Well, I usually give it a pretty good one too. So, and then I just realized that I've actually had the beer that Schwim just got me. So thank you, Schwim. Nice. So I'm having it again, but I'll still rate it. I gave it.
I get that for you, by the way.
No, he said it, and I took credit for it.
Sorry, Steve. Yeah. Thank you, Schwim. I actually have had it twice, so even better. I give it a 4.5 both times. It's a pretty good. It's a sherbet sour IPA. Really tasty, fruity. Really sticks on the tongue, like I said last time. So.
Here we go. Here we go again.
All right, so let's actually get to some
some
hockey news. Yeah, I mean we're talking hockey and beers and bullshit, so why not just stick to the bullshit?
Taste on the tongue.
Yes.
Yeah, taste on the tongue. I think it said sticks on the tongue. Anyways.
Or lingers on
lingers. Yeah, there we go. Lingers on. That sounds better. But okay. So getting away from the bull, some NHL news. There was an update to The kind of the playoff format. The NHL came out with another little briefing. Basically, I don't know we had discussed about this earlier, but series lengths now will be best of 7 for obviously conference finals, Stanley Cup finals. The qualifying rounds each will be composed of best of 5. I think they had said that before, but just they wanted to reiterate that. Seeding format. Both sides came to an agreement that the highest remaining seed in each conference will go up against the lowest remaining seed, so they will reseed. The round robin tiebreaker being, in case they're tied, the tiebreaker will go to the team with the higher regular season points percentage. So hopefully Schwim's team can, knock off the Bruins, and then the Bruins get like last place. That'd be fantastic. And then home ice designation. Basically, for the qualifying round, the higher seed gets it, obviously. For the first and second rounds in conference finals, the higher seed will be designated as the home team. And then for the Stanley Cup, the team with the higher regular season points percentage will be designated as the home team. So, just a little quick stuff. Any thoughts, gents?
Yeah, a lot of what we expected. I think the one thing that was in question was obviously that was clarified, the reseeding and the
which I'm happy about.
The entirety of the actual playoffs is best of 7. Just the play-in, play-in is best of 5.
The qualifying,
which is the qualifying, which is completely fine. It's I think that's perfect. Some people said best of 3. Some people say best of 7. Some people say best of 7 is too long. You meet in the middle, and I think 5 games is appropriate for to get past that. And then the reseeding is huge. I didn't like the fact that I guess at first it wasn't mentioned that there would be reseeding, and if like for instance Montreal beats Pittsburgh, the 4th seeded team in that little round robin play would end up playing the worst team, and the best seeded team would play obviously somebody better. But I'm glad that they're reseeding, so that's good. Yep. And then home ice is typical. I guess whoever gets home ice, I guess it's one team 1 and 2, the next team 3, 4, and then they rotate 5, 6, and 7. Obviously, nobody's going to really take advantage of the crowd effect or anything like that, but line changes and things of that nature.
So I definitely like the reseeding.
Yeah. Well, of course. Well, no. I was actually going to say, I wanted you to touch base on this because Mr. Jeff Turner, just a nice little Facebook comment. Thank you for tuning in, Jeff. He says, first time, long time. Rumors going around that Tampa Bay voted no to the original playoff format because they would have to face the Islanders in the playoffs. Just curious on your thoughts. Thanks. I'll hang up and listen. So, Schwim?
Oh, Jeffrey Turner.
Thanks for tuning in, Jeffrey Turner.
Yeah, thank you, Jeffrey Turner.
Thanks for tuning in.
Just to stick it to me with the Islanders. All right. Yeah, I don't want to play the Islanders. I don't like their defensive structure is like they hunker down and like they're another team that could like knock out like a high seed in the playoffs with their structure. So yeah, I don't want to see them. So I'll agree with Jeffrey Turner there on that one. But I'm glad that they came to an agreement with the reseeding because I thought the whole time basically the top 4 teams, they weren't really playing for that much. They were playing for, somebody will be the 1 seed, but now that they're going to do the reseeding, I think the games now matter a little bit more. And the home ice advantage and all that stuff, that's important definitely for line changes and whatnot. But not for fans or anything like that. Although I heard something hilarious in one of the European soccer leagues, they're selling seats and they'll put a cardboard cutout of you in the seat that you buy and it's out in the crowd, so it looks like a crowd. Like NHL should look into that, and I would absolutely try to buy a seat. I was
actually say that what they should do is offer that to their season ticket holders, and
it might be something like that.
If you want it, you take it. If not, then they can go and sell that to another fan. But they should get that for free because they're season ticket holders. So you should give them something. That'd actually be a pretty good idea. NHL, take that take that idea and you can run with it. And
then you see yourself in the crowd.
Yeah.
Watch the game. That'd be fantastic.
No, I mean that'd be a good one. So, any other? Schwim, you want to comment real fast on the NHL stuff? Or are you good?
As I take a drink, no, I'm good. Yeah, just the seating, happy about, and that they made it a little bit more clear now.
Okay. Another thing we wanted to talk about was just, players this week, in the last couple of weeks have really been chiming in with the protests and riots and where we stand as a nation. And Steve, I think you had a player you want to touch base on, or do you want to just kind of?
There's a few players, but we want to specify that we're in support of the peaceful protests. Obviously,
Absolutely.
Opportunistic criminals who are taking advantage of the looting and the rioting. Is a different story, but I do like the players. So here we are talking hockey in a very, very heavily weighted white sport. There hasn't been a lot of African Americans or Black Canadians also that have participated, but to see the outpouring of support from these players has been pretty awesome to watch. Beyond, it just Captain Jonathan Tays' statement really got me.
It was
Sidney
awesome.
Crosby came out and said his piece, short and sweet, but to the point. And Tyler Seguin taking part in the march and the protest in Dallas this week as well. Really awesome to see these players just come out and support everybody. And I know that they had. I was reading about some of the Black players, former and current, starting a diversity initiative to try and diversify the sport and get it out to the communities and outreach and so on and so forth. So great to see everybody coming together. The greatest sport in the world, and to have these players come out and support, our brothers and sisters of all nationalities and all races in this time. It's really awesome to see.
Jim, you want to touch, or you want me to go?
You can go. Go ahead, guy.
All right. So, obviously, what Steve just said, great. Hockey is for everybody. I really do believe that anybody should be playing the sport. It's fantastic. I know there are some limitations in terms because hockey's an expensive game, and it has been predominantly a white sport for a while. But it's for everybody. We want the best talent in the NHL. We want everybody to be the best, and I really do believe that everybody should be, in love with this game. It's awesome. It's so much fun to watch. And, if you're Evander Kane or if you're Dustin Byfuglien or all these guys, and you're out there, you're throwing on that uniform, there's kids looking up to you, and that's awesome. And that should be celebrated and supported. And, there, like I said, there's a whole bunch of athletes that came out and did some really good things, really cool things. And, we're obviously in their corner. We want to make sure we, you and your community, do what you can to support, what's going on. And it's a pretty good thing going on. So just short and sweet. Schwim?
Everything you guys said, you guys said it all, but we're completely in support of all races, especially Black lives, and we want everyone to have an opportunity to either see the sport, play the sport. So I think the initiatives that some of those players are taking is unbelievable, and hopefully a lot of people can get a lot of other people in the league, Black, white, Latino, anything can get behind that, what they're doing, and get it going really good. Because if you can get the game into areas where the game isn't that prevalent, who knows, kind of talent you could find and a love for the game that
I was actually say it's growing in China and Japan. That's awesome. It'd be cool to see. I know there have been some Asian skaters, but bringing
international class.
Yeah. No, but bringing everybody. And I want this to be, that's why everyone from Russia comes over here, because they want to play and try to win the Stanley Cup. It's the best, best trophy in sports. Of course, Minnie's going barking haywire, but it's the best trophy in sports, and it's so much fun to watch, and the playoffs is just fantastic. And one other thing I wanted to quickly bring up was Keandre Miller, who's a Rangers prospect, had a Zoom call a couple weeks ago, and I know we didn't touch base on this, but I probably should have. Well, I definitely should have. But what happened on the message board with some jerk commenter just tweeting racist and just shitty remarks you don't want to see anywhere. And this is this kid's time to shine in front of the New York media. He gets signed to a contract, and he wants to just celebrate this awesome time in his life. And you have one jerk or a bunch of jerks doing stuff that just isn't necessary. Be happy for this kid. He just achieved a dream. He's going to play in the NHL. God willing, he'll play in the NHL. And he's someone you want to see and celebrate and watch. So, all right. So let's.
it's a good thing for these players to speak. That's number one. I don't want to hear anybody saying that they have no say in any of this. They're all human beings. We're all human beings, and everybody has equal say, regardless of their status. We hope everybody contributes the way that they can. But to speak up is something. Maybe not enough, maybe a little bit more, but to speak up and to acknowledge it is key. I want to bring up Dean real quick that Sam sent us a message here that is interesting, which I had no idea. In fact, black slaves who ran away to Nova Scotia invented the sport of ice hockey, but many think it's a white man's sport. Said he looked it up, and there's articles and newspapers. Definitely something I want to research. After
yeah, we'll get into that.
It's an interesting story that I've never heard of, and if this is true, it's telling that nobody knows it. Nobody knows that fact. And now that we're bringing attention to all this, I think it's time to everybody to educate themselves about everything that's going on.
Yeah. All right. So, and we'll obviously get more into this, because there's just some good stuff coming out from NHL players and from the NHL, and just in support. So there'll be more stories and we'll touch base on them as we go. But one thing I thought would be pretty cool, since, it's a little bit of a lull waiting for the playoffs to start, but, the Athletic came out with, players, an NHL poll about players having their say on the best player, worst referee, drinking buddies, and more, and some other things. So I just wanted to touch base on this because I thought this was pretty good, and then we'll get into the numbers after that. But so they came out and they were discussing who the best, just players, randomized poll, no names to this, but who's the best player in the game. So obviously, Sid was the winner last year. He had about 50% of the vote, which and he's still up there. But finally, he came to Connor McDavid at 63%. Nathan McKinnon also had 17%, and then Crosby finished about 15%. Some other notable names getting some love: Pasternak, Jack Eichel, Ovi, John Carlson, which I was a little surprised, but I understand he's got a lot of points. He's had a great year. Draisaitl, Patrice Bergeron, Austin Matthews, Patrick Kane, and then here was the one I didn't see coming: Jonathan Huberdeau, which I know he's awesome, but
I think he's a completely underrated player. I think he's really
underrated. To the other
underrated.
topic in that same poll about who the most underrated, and you saw his line mate.
Do you want to jump right down to that?
Yeah, I think that's a good transition to that. Yeah.
So most
Alexander
underrated.
Barkov.
Yeah, Barkov and Huberdeau was second. Mm-hmm. So the two top players on the same team, same line, and Florida gets no publicity. They have a lot of great players. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
It's not a great market. So
no.
Yeah, it's not a great market down there in Florida. They're having a tough time with selling tickets and fans, and if there's no fans there, they're not going to get a lot of publicity. But those two guys, I'm telling you, they are. Barkov
they're dirty.
He's slowly becoming one of the best players in the league.
And I think
he might be up there.
I think in the same poll they said it was 2 years in a row that he was.
Yeah, 2 years in a row he won this.
Most underrated. So obviously you can't be the most underrated player anymore because everybody knows that now you're the most underrated player 2 years in a row. But he's quietly just phenomenal.
It's like Backstrom in Washington. Yeah. He's always underrated because he's with Ovechkin.
So that was actually number 3 was Nicholas Backstrom. Number 4, your boy Braden Point. Number 5 was Jared Spurgeon. And then there was a bunch of other guys. I'm not even going to list them because there's like 15, 20. But this is what one player said about Barkov, and this is in the Atlantic Division, so his own division. To me, he's a top 3 player in the league, and I don't think a lot of people would say that. And then another person, Barkov's got the best hands in the NHL for a big guy. He's huge. He's got an unbelievable shot, vision. He's got it all in one package. There's not one thing in the game that he's lacking, and that's true. I mean, the guy defensively, he's up for the Selke. I think last year he was up for the Selke. This year he's just as good. Guy's nasty. And then obviously Huberdeau. He had 92 points last season, and then this year he was also one of the league leaders. He's close to it, top 10, I think. And no one knows even about him. And this player in the Metro said he actually had to look it up because he didn't think his dad had 92 points. So I mean, just quiet.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's really cool. Those guys are are studs, and they. For hockey guys, you know how good they are, but for the mainstream guy that maybe not knows too much, watch Florida play because they have, like I said, they have Ekblad, Barkov, Huberdeau. They have some really good players, and it's Keith Yandel, who one of my favorite defensemen in the league. He was a former Ranger. I wish they had kept him, but that's another point.
They're inconsistent, but they're fun to watch.
Yeah.
Those two players at least are like, anytime Barkov or Huberdeau are on, you want to watch them. If they have a power play and they're both on, I would want to watch that.
Oh yeah. So then obviously went over the number one players by the fans, and McKinnon, Crosby, McDavid, all top three, and a lot of people still say Crosby's one of the best, and there's obviously no debating that one. Now this is the one that I don't understand this is possible. But Game 7, the Stanley Cup Finals, aside from your own goalie, which I'm going to play favorites on that one, who do you want starting in net? Carey Price.
Who's never played
in a Game 7.
He played a Game 7?
I don't.
I know they made that one. They made that one run, and that was Yaroslav Halak.
Yeah, I don't think he played in Game 7. I should have.
2010.
I should have looked that up, but
yeah,
I mean,
it's a good thing to look up. Yeah, but I can't. I don't remember.
No.
Montreal being in a Game 7.
Yeah, I mean, and in Game 6 with the Rangers,
or winning a series. But that being said, he's Carey Price, and
I know, but like you're playing off a name.
His focus, yeah. Well, that's exactly true. I mean, you can't deny his ability. I mean, he can win you a game, and he's probably. I mean, to some degree, I agree with that statement, but I mean, you see the Game 7 winners of recent. I mean, Jordan Binnington, lights out. I think it was Marc-Andre Fleury for Pittsburgh. Their second in 2017, shutting out Washington. Not a Stanley Cup final, but another thing is you don't really see Game 7 Stanley Cup finals go to it, with the exception of this last one. I mean, when was the last 7-game series? But Jordan Binnington. But I don't know. It's just the players. I mean, it's a lot of players.
Yeah,
in this poll, and it's a pretty overwhelming majority.
392. 392 players to be exact.
Wow.
But yeah, let's finish up. Carey Price.
Carey Price, you want one game. Like you want the best goalie possibly in the world for one game. I understand. I get it. You want Carey Price. He could win you one game. I think, especially with
I don't think
all-star team in front of him.
But even if you're asking the best goalie,
in front of you.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But even if it's the best goalie, I don't even think he's the best goalie. I'd think either you want Marc-Andre Fleury, Vasilevsky, even Tuukka.
But you're naming guys who haven't won that either.
I'm biased.
Well, so if I'm going to be biased, Hank, who's actually been in 7 Game 7s and has a 6-1 record.
Well,
and you don't want him.
Fleury's also been in a Game 7 and Stanley Cup final and won.
Who was that one lost to?
Yeah. Yeah. I hate you. Well, anyways, let's finish up the list. So it's Price, Fleury with 23%, Vasi 11, Tuukka 7, and Jordan Binnington got 7. And that's actually what one of the players wrote. Binnington just did it. How can you not pick him? Yeah, I mean, the Price thing just is bewildering. I don't see him being that kind of player anymore. But he got buy-in name recognition, which is actually, I think, what one of the players even said. But yeah, I thought that was pretty good. Another one that, obviously everyone has their own opinions on this. Who's the dirtiest player in the league? Of course, the little ball of hate, Brad Marchand got number 1 at 29%. I hate him. And I've said before on the podcast.
This was a tough poll, though, because a lot of players, I think, said that they didn't want to answer it.
Yeah. Oh, so I'll get into that a little bit. But, I mean, yeah, I've said this before. He's one inch and a player that I actually would want to fight. But Tom Wilson at 24% was number 2. Matthew Tkachuk with 11%. Radko Gudas with 7%, and Antoine Roussel with 3.
I think those two are very quietly dirty.
Yeah.
Gudas is quietly dirty.
Yeah.
Roussel and Gudas,
I think Gudas has calmed down a little bit.
Gudas is calmed down, but then every once in a while he'll do something so idiotic, like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But he's not kind of consistent like everybody else is. A lot of guys, they're doing stuff like like Wilson was doing stuff all the time.
He's borderline now, but I mean, I guess, and don't get me wrong, I hate. I mean, I don't like to use the word hate. I'm talking about hate as a player, not as a human, because I don't know him.
Yeah.
But I hate Tom Wilson as a player with an undying passion. Obviously, the rivalry is there.
Yep.
But some of the things that he's done has been just completely grotesque. to the sport. But since his lengthy suspensions, I want to say he's been better. But there's been times where he's kind of borderline. But and like the players were saying with him especially, he's a very effective player. I mean, the guy's a good player. So is Brad Marchand. They're both. I mean, Brad Marchand obviously is more superstar level than Tom Wilson, but they're both very good players.
Yep. Just so they do label us as dirty, but and I agree with this point that a Pacific Division player said. He said nobody's dirty. He just thinks the guys who are cheap and that he calls them rats, and he says Chuck's a rat, Marchand's a rat, but he wouldn't call them dirty. And I agree with that. You're not. It's not a dirty player. It's just a guy that tries to stay on that edge, and he can go over it every once in a while. You think of other guys, Matt Cook. Who's
Downey.
The guy from Steve Downey? Who was the guy from Phoenix that ended the? Oh man!
And there was Simon, right? Chris Simon.
Yeah, Chris Simon. I can't believe I'm.
He had a long one. Bertuzzi punching what's his face in the back of the head.
Bertuzzi in the back of the head. Yeah. But anyways,
stomping on. I think it was Chris Simon's leg, wasn't it?
Yeah, Chris. Yeah, Simon with that two-handed whack to Matt Hallweg. That was. I mean, I remember watching that game.
Longest suspension in NHL history, correct? Chris Simon.
Yeah. Well, what was Marty McSorley for his hack on Brashear? Was it Don Brashear?
Yeah, that was that was up there. That was 20-something games, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
I want.
That's amazing. You wreck someone in the face with your stick, and you only get 20-something games.
Well, it was also different. I think if it happens now, well, you would think that they would be
done for.
You would think.
If that happened today, they'd be gone.
So,
but who knows?
All right, so me and Eric are going back and forth about if Price would have beaten the Rangers if Kreider hadn't taken him out. I do believe they would have, but
that was the Jarro Halak year, right? That was your year, the Jarro Halak year?
that was Dustin Tokarski.
Oh, okay.
Former Tampa.
That's right. Yep, I remember that as well.
And that's when Marty roofed it over his shoulder for the game winner in 6. That was that was that game was the Mother's Day game, and then it was Stepan with the winner in Game 6. But that was a fantastic season. The best defensive defenseman, your man Victor Hedman, Shea Weber number 2, McDonough 3, Gio and Slavin round out 4 or 5. I think. Slavin. I think Slavin actually is a lot higher than this. I think he's better than Gio, Mac, and Weber. I think he should be number 2. But I mean, Victor Hedman, perennial Norris contender. Just a couple guys in his division just say outstanding, great skater, huge, long stick. It's just impossible to get around him. And I don't see how you can be, how you can deny that he's great. So I mean, not much to say.
You never see him on the receiving end of a highlight reel.
Nope.
He's never getting danced, and he's awesome. He's awesome. He's an awesome defenseman, and he's offensively gifted too. He's like, I'm sorry, I know I'm biased, but I'm like, in my opinion, he's the best all-around defenseman.
I want you to talk about him. He's fantastic. Talk about him.
Is he in the Nicholas Lidstrom category?
I don't know if he keeps going the way he's going.
Swede.
I know.
I don't know.
Swede.
Nicholas Lidstrom.
He's got to win some more Norris trophies.
Nicholas Lidstrom is one of the best defensemen of all time.
He's also going to win a cup, I think.
He's got 7 Norris trophies. Yeah, he's definitely going to win a cup.
Also.
And a captain,
maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the captain's really a big thing. But yeah, I mean,
Scott Stevens.
Scott Stevens.
His player for the offensive side of the puck was
it's pretty
Scott
great.
I love you.
Yeah, but I mean, Lidstrom was otherworldly. You're talking about top 3, 4 defensemen of all time. Hedman's got a long way to go, but he's definitely one of those players you watch.
Right now, I think he's
the best in the league,
2, if not the top in the league.
I think he's the best
right now.
Best defenseman in the league. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, easily.
And I agree with the players. I mean, the players are telling you that he's the best defenseman in the league. So
you listen to the guys that they play against. Yep.
Yeah, they're the ones who know. I mean, we just watch hockey and judge them from then, but playing against them is totally different.
And his skating is still unbelievable. I've seen him carry the puck all the way up, turn it over, something happened, and the other team's breaking the other way, and he skates back and affects the play still.
He's we got a tent pitching over here. Yeah, you can't get him riled up.
Don't get me riled up. I'm starting to sweat now.
I'm getting
thinking about Victor.
I'm sweating because my downstairs basement doesn't get any air supply. I'm like, that's why my arm's out like this. But anyways, I was actually going to compare him to Chara for a little bit, just because the size obviously is one thing, but his ability to skate is so much better than Chara's, and that's where you see the big difference.
By far.
So
yeah.
They went over best and worst referees, which I thought was funny, and a lot of players didn't even want to answer this because they didn't want to give anybody credence, and also because they just didn't know their names, which is even better. Which player not on your team would you most like to have a beer with? And that's what we kind of were joking around maybe about a show title for this, but Ovi with number 1, Crosby with number 2, but they didn't say really Crosby because of how he celebrates, or because they just want to know him because he's just awesome.
Or they can have the bragging rights of being like, I had a beer with Sidney Crosby.
Yeah. 3 was Joe Thornton, just because they thought about how his stories. Keith Yandel, number 4, which I heard he's might be one of like the funniest guys in the NHL.
Yeah, that's what I heard. He's hilarious.
Yeah, Brett Burns, and then the one I thought was funny was an anonymous Minnesota Wild center said Mark and Jordan Stahl. This is anonymous, right? So obviously Eric shipping on his brothers, which was pretty good. So I would have loved to have a beer with the Stahl brothers. I had his jersey up a couple of episodes ago, but yeah, I mean Keith Yandel, I hear, is the funniest. You guys got an opinion?
I'd want to have a beer with Marc-Andre Fleury. He's, and I guess that's slightly homer alert, but the guy is just like, how could that not be a good time? He's like the happiest person on the planet. And he's, even Malkin, if you can understand what he's saying to you, but also has a lot of
him and his borscht.
Good humor. And also, what do you call it? I was watching when he was briefly on the team. And why am I blanking on his name now? The enforcer for Ryan Reeves.
Tanner Glass?
Pranks that Ryan Reeves. Yeah, no, Ryan Reeves. Tanner Glass.
No, we want him to play hockey for us. We don't, and then have a beer with him. We want him on our team. Tanner Glass, if you're listening or watching.
I think Ryan Reeves would be hilarious as well.
Yeah.
Some of the pranks that he pulled on Phil Kessel during their time together were pretty great.
Yeah, he was on Spittin'.
Yeah, Phil Kessel is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Oh yeah. And he was on Spittin' Chicklets, and he has a bunch of stories he went through, and it was absolutely hysterical. I think it was him, it was Reeves, it was Marc-Andre Fleury, and I forgot the other player, but they were all in Pittsburgh, and now they're in Vegas together, and they were just chatting. It was hysterical.
Speaking of Spittin' Chicklets, I'd like to have a beer, I think, with Bissonnette.
Bissonnette would be funny.
Bissonnette. Yeah, him and Whitney together. Yeah,
that'd be a good time.
Together. Not so much Rear Admiral. You can deal without him. Just give the other two. But there are a couple other polls. I mean, we're not going to touch base on these, but like outdoor games, was it not enough? They think it's just right. Do they pay attention to advanced stats? 86% said no, which is actually funny because now all the GMs are just advanced stats guys. I mean, these guys just go out and play hockey. And I think just the perfect, Atlantic Division player, and I'm going to use that. He goes, F no, I think they're stupid. That's great.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, I don't think those stats are for players. I think they're specifically for
they couldn't care.
Scouts and GMs to figure out pieces, but they don't. Half the players don't even know what they mean, so they just go out there and do their job.
And then lastly, rule changes. 16% said remove the puck over the glass penalty. 14%. Yeah, probably. 14% said no more offside challenges. No shootouts, remove the trapezoid, and then 10-minute OT. So just little stuff. But, I thought that was a pretty good article. Wanted to just kind of discuss that a little bit. You guys got any other quick things on that?
No, I mean, it was pretty great, pretty fun to watch. The rule change thing, I saw that they had mentioned that there was just like so many on there. I don't know if you have it in front of you there, the exact number of rule changes that were suggested on there. So it was really hard to calculate percentages. Or the top 3 percentages, at least, are such low percentages just because of the volume of things. But I did kind of agree on the offside rule a little bit, because if it has absolutely nothing to do with the play, and if it's like half an inch,
there are 80 different suggestions.
They talk about doing, because they have that whole thing where your skate is off and then your skate, but if you're
that's going to change.
Hovering over the line and your skate is up, they were still going to, weren't they talking about still making that onside?
Yeah,
that would be, I think, a good change. And I think everyone wants to know, when are they going to bring back the glow puck with the streak?
Glow puck.
Maybe for these playoffs.
So what was that called? Sports tracks or
something like that.
was on Fox when I
Yeah, that was
Fox
good.
had it.
That's what it's called.
When they get a
I know,
Brett
Although Brett Porter,
around the whole thing,
Brett
just
Porter's not gonna watch-
Oh my
Brett
God.
Porter's not going to watch another hockey game until that is added to the
Oh,
to
man.
the feed.
I mean, he's missing out on his
All right.
Las Vegas Golden Knights. So
The first Vegas fan ever.
yeah, first Vegas fan ever.
Brett
All right,
Day
so
one.
something we wanted to do, which we thought would be pretty cool. There was some articles around about 0 to 100, who wore the number the best. So obviously the best player to ever wear a specific number. We figured what we'd do is go 0 to 10, and then we'll do 10 each episode, kind of give you guys a little taste. So I figured we would give who might be the best, and then maybe a player that we like that should maybe deserve that number. So just double 0, which I think is one of the hardest because I think only 3 or 4 people ever wore it. 2. John Davidson, John Davidson, Marty Barone. I'm going Johnny D, obviously Ranger. So it's hard not to give it to him. But I mean, Barone and his. I remember watching him with Buffalo. It was not a
Did Davidson wear it for more than one season?
Yeah, so I think he wore it for a while. I want to say
Barone was just not even a season.
Yeah. Sweater numbers such as 00, 1/2, 0.05, and 101 are not permitted anymore. So, they obviously.
Hashtag.
Yeah, hashtag. Yeah.
And Valvano.
Yeah, Mr. Val, that guy. We love you, Danny. All right, so let's go to number 0.
Yep.
I mean, I don't really know many that
wore
0. Not on the Rangers. Yeah, Neil. Yeah, so sorry. Yeah, well, the one guy, Neil Sheehy. I mean, we're not even. Let's just go past that.
Real numbers. Let's get to real numbers.
Good job, Neil. All right, now to number 1.
Yep.
Let's go to number 1. I think. I mean, you guys would tell me if you think so, but I mean, probably Jacques Plante. He's one of the most famous. Terry Sawchuk, Glenn Hall, Johnny Bowers also. I mean, I'm going to be a Ranger homer. Eddie Giacomin, who's top 3 goalie Rangers all time. Great player. I mean, you can't. How can you not give it to Jacques Plante?
Well, I'm going to agree with Moose here on our Facebook Live and say the Moose, Johan Hedberg, wore it best for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Especially during that run when they did upset the the New Jersey Devils.
You don't have to apologize for that.
Yeah. Well, I promised that I would tell James Lennox, "Let's go Devils." So James Lennox, let's go Devils.
So I had Johnny Bauer as number 1. He had 4 cups. He won the Vezina twice. He's a Hall of Famer. On the Leafs, when the Leafs were actually winning. So,
yep.
So I gave it to him. And my favorite number 1 is obviously Darren Pupa. When he was on the Leafs, he was number 1. He was there for 1 season. I think he actually got traded there mid-season, and he played like 8 games, and then like part of a game in a playoff game, and that was it. But he was number 1 for Toronto, and then he got traded to Buffalo, where he I think changed number 30 or something like that.
Onward.
This is how crazy the Rangers goalie numbers are. So obviously, the big ones. You got Eddie Giacomin. You got Eddie Giacomin. You got Mike Richter. You obviously have Hank in the rafters. He'll be a Hall of Famer too. But John Davidson 0-0. You had Emil. These are all the guys that wore number 1. Emil Francis, Gump Worsley, Johnny Bauer. I'm losing the train. Jacques Plante, Eddie Giacomin, and Gilles Villemure, who was also another Hall of Famer. They had so many goalies. That's why Rangers, I think, have probably the best goalie list of all time. But because they get pay them. But anyways, I just thought that was pretty cool. So
yeah,
number
was
2,
a real popular number at some point.
Yep.
Not so much anymore.
No, it's not anymore. Number 2, it's sorry, damn it, this guy right here, Brian Leach.
we actually agree with you.
Yeah.
Doug Harvey can suck it.
On the same page.
Doug Harvey can suck it.
So can Matt Lauer.
Yeah, suck it, Matt Lauer. But you also Lester Patrick, Eddie Shore, Brad Park, who's and Al McGinnis. I mean, that guy's slap shot was ridiculous. But I mean, Brian Leach, that's me. But you guys, Anything?
My favorite Penguin. So I need to preface with I'm gonna bring up some of my favorite Penguins to wear these jersey numbers, and I'm gonna preface and say that it's the players that I've watched play. So not guys from before my time, although they deserve all the credit for wearing the numbers. But my favorite wearing number 2 is Matt Niskanen when he was with Pittsburgh. I think he probably deserved a longer contract. He deserved probably an alternate captain back when they were just underachieving. Like no team could ever underachieve. That guy was a bright spot. So number 2, Matt Niskanen for me.
Mine is based purely on his name because it's slim pickings for my team here. Trying to find favorite players who wore those numbers.
Bonus points if anybody can spell it.
If you can spell, I'm not going to spell his name. If you can spell it, I'll give you a thumbs up. I don't know. Number 2, his name was Stan Netzcash. He played for Tampa from 01 to 04. And if you can spell his last name without looking it up.
Yeah, put it on Facebook Live. Schwim will get by his own.
Yeah, I might be able to look up like Tampa, but based purely on his name and the way it's spelled, that's why I picked him at number 2.
It's not spelled phonetically.
It's not spelled at all the way it sounds. Not at all.
Eric with Fetisov, which is another good one. But actually, I was looking through the because you said base it off of players that you've seen play. And no Ranger, actually, Glenn Hanlon in '86 wore it when I was a year old, so I wasn't going to see anybody in the number 1 and number 2. Obviously, Leach is the only one because it's retired now. So, all right, number 3. I was going through. I mean, they said Pierre Pilot. Obviously he's way before us playing.
I was wondering how you pronounce that. Is that how it's pronounced?
Yeah,
I think it's Pilot.
Okay, you're correct.
Yeah.
Sir.
I mean, if we butcher these names, pretty much it'll be me butchering the names and these guys kind of making up for it. But
yeah, you butcher names that
and then we'll make fun of you, and then
how it's pronounced on a daily basis.
Jack Eichel.
Yeah, Jack. Yep,
Eichel.
Jack Eichel.
What was the other one I had?
Vesey.
Jimmy Vesey.
Yeah, Vesey. Yeah, Jimmy Vesey. There was another one too that I really butchered. You guys are giving me good, but anyways,
you can't say Tristan Jarry for the life of you.
Yeah, you say Yari all the time. Keep doing the soft J.
I do.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. It's okay.
All right, I'm gonna go number 3. Harry Howell was probably the best Ranger yet to retired, but I'm gonna go Tom Pody. I always he was
wow.
Yeah, he came into
wow.
I know, it's
that
great.
was Jeff's favorite player.
Oh man,
he came into the league and everyone was like, "Oh my God, this guy's gonna be awesome," and he was just terrible. But also another one.
But you remember?
Yeah. Michael Roosevelt is another pretty good one too. But I'll go with Tom Pody. Yep.
I had slim pickings as well. When I broke it down to it, I guess I just I know he obviously heard me repeatedly criticize Olimata on a
all the time.
game-to-game basis, but Olimata isn't just an excellent human being, and even though I was hard on his play, I like the kid a lot. So Olimata would be my favorite number 3.
Again, slim pickings for me. So I picked a guy who only wore the number for 1 season, but he's a known Tampa player at least. Pavel Kubina. He wore it for 1 year in 98-99.
Arch nemesis.
Yeah. 1 year in 98-99. Then he switched to 13 after that, and he wore that number for like almost 10 years. But yeah, number 3, the only guy that I can find of any prevalence was Pavel Kubina, who was one of Tampa's pretty big shot, big player, big bruiser, 04 Cup winner. So why the hell not?
Yeah, so Eric with Ken Danico for the Devils. So we'll give them a little bit of shout out. Guy with no teeth and drunk.
Number 4, by the way, is a given.
Yeah, number 4. I mean, Bobby Orr. I mean, and it sucks because Jean Bellevue, Art Ross.
Butcher that one. There you go.
Bellevue.
I'm not going to say the Devil because everyone, that guy, Jesus.
Everyone knows. Everyone knows.
Everyone knows. I'm going to go with it's tough between Michael Del Zotto and Mike Koska. Mike Koska was a UMass alum, so I wanted to give him a shout out, but Michael Del Zotto. Yeah, and he was. He traveled a lot around, but yeah. Michael Del Zotto, very good prospect.
I just stand up and show mine.
Yep, absolutely. Let's see it. Number 4.
For Schwim or for me?
For me.
We all.
Schwim.
You didn't even bring your. Oh, there it is.
There he is.
God, he's near me.
Mr. Vinny.
Sorry.
Schwim, is that jersey up there, Le Cavier too?
No, it's St. Louis actually.
But you guys, I put at least the number of 2 on here. You guys use 87 and 26. We're in the 10s.
I'm putting players I like.
I don't have any 10s up there currently. I don't think.
I guess who?
I was doing this as a favor to you because he was also on your team and on my team.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's 26. That's what you wear on the 20s.
You can only see the 2.
But he was also the height of a 4-year-old, so.
That's true.
He also had his own tile and roofing company. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
Little fun fact.
All right, before we move on to number 5, my favorite is still currently Justin Schultz. He's
Schultz.
I don't know. He's not a super exciting player, but super important during those 2 cup runs. Turned his career around from coming over from Edmonton. Good guy. Hope he's with Pittsburgh next season. Not confident he will resign. He's going to get a big contract. So it was a pleasure having him if he does move on, and hopefully we can see him in the playoffs and potentially make a big run.
All right, number 5. I don't know why this idiot wrote this, but he said, well, obviously he wrote Nicholas Lidstrom, right? But his thing was Lidstrom won the Norris Trophy 7 times, which is why he gets the nod over Dennis Potvin, the heart and soul of the Islanders dynasty. Are you kidding me?
Denny.
I mean, what?
Denny Potvin.
Whatever. He's an Islander, and he should not be anywhere near Nicholas Lidstrom.
Yes. I don't. I don't know Denny Potvin at all, but based on his commentary, play-by-play, his analysis and so on, he is just such an annoyance.
Based on his TV career,
so I don't even care about his.
He was a great defenseman, but come on, Nicholas Lidstrom's the best of all time. Why would you even put him in the same sentence? One of the best of all time. Sorry, not best, because obviously Bobby Orr.
Still said Nicholas Lidstrom, and I agree. Nicholas Lidstrom wore number 5 the best. Although I'm going to give props to Ulf Samuelsson wearing it for Pittsburgh during their 90s Cup runs. Big bruiser.
Yep.
Ulf.
Former Ranger.
Speaking of bruisers, my number 5 is a very little-known player, Igor Ulanov, number 5.
I remember him.
I think he was I loved watching him just because he was clueless out there, but he would destroy people. He would always have a huge hit on somebody, and it was the greatest thing ever. And then he would go on the bench and sit for 39 minutes before he got back out again. But,
all right, my number.
I think he had. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, guy.
No. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's all right.
Finish up along.
I was just gonna say he had like 200 something penalty minutes in 100 games. So that's it.
Nice. I always love those guys that have 40 or 50 games, and they're almost at 200. Like, how would you just fight every single game? Because
they play 5 minutes a game, and they get in a fight, and that's it.
And they're out 10, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're in the penalty box longer than they're on the ice.
All right, my number 5, a heart and soul Ranger, Dan Girardi. I mean, he's a free agent signee, 2008 to 2017. I mean, dude just block shot. He was a one-time All-Star for his defensive ability. Just a great defense for the Rangers. Obviously those end years didn't look great, and it kind of tarnishes a little bit of his reputation. But heart and soul glue guy. Helped the Rangers go to a cup. All those cup finals, one cup finals, and then a bunch of Eastern Conference championships. Really great defenseman. So I'll give him some props. Number 6, Toe Blake. From the present, they do say Shea Weber. He would definitely be up there. I think maybe he takes that one after his career is over. Why don't you guys go through yours, because there's 30-something Rangers taking number 6.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it quick. I have Toe Blake as well, with shout out to Phil Housley. You can't discredit Phil Housley.
Phil Housley.
The guy is
U.S. born.
U.S. born defenseman.
Scoring defenseman.
Unbelievable. My favorite Penguin to wear number 6. I loved Trevor Daley even before he was a Penguin, and when he came over, again, crucial to their cup runs. I know that he was injured for the one. Huge locker room presence. With a small shout out to John Marino, I think he's got a great future ahead of him. So there's my number 6.
My number 6, you're gonna like it. Antoine or Twan Strawman.
Yeah, he's on my list too. Yeah, it's a tough
He
one.
was just he was one of the most steady defensemen. You really didn't have to worry about him with anything. He wasn't like the greatest offensive player, wasn't the greatest defensive player, but everything about him was just like steady. You could rely on him. And those years when Tampa was like rolling pretty well, he had like some of his best years with the team, and then he left free agency. But I knew that was going to happen.
He'd be one of those guys where his defensive partner would win the Norris, and he would, he wouldn't get any accolades for it, but he was absolutely one of the reasons that guy won the Norris. Just solid defenseman. He's on my list too, but he only wore it for 1 year for the Rangers. The two best players that wear the number 6 since I've been around there were Darius Kasparaitis and Wade Redden, who were both terrible. So that just tells you how good this list is. So
Kasparaitis, I picked a hockey puck. Remember that for you when we were at that Pittsburgh game? They're giving away free pucks, but they were in bags, and you couldn't see like what puck was in which. I'm like, Steven, pick this bag, and boom, it was Darius Kasparaitis.
Yeah,
it was
a little foreshadowing of episode to come. We'll get into this, but Darius Kasparaitis with the first hit on Eric Lindros and his first concussion. So that's
nice.
That was that beautiful train of events. But
something to be
I know. Number 7, Phil Esposito. I mean, he's actually the reason, he's the reason why Ray Bork was number 77. He was a big fan of his. You also have Howie Morenz and Ted Lindsay.
The best jersey retirement probably of all time.
Yeah. For Rangers, Roger Bear. He wasn't obviously around my time, but the numbers retired in the rafters because of him. He's a part of the gag line, the goal game line with Jean Rattel and Vic Hadfield. Guy was nasty, so not much more to say about him.
For me, I kind of teeter back and forth with, oddly enough, their names sound very similar. Joe Mullen, another American-born player. Key in both the Cup wins in the early 90s, and then Matt Cullen, of course, huge in the Cup wins, 2016, 2017. And I think Matt Cullen, with the statistics, Joe Mullen put up some great stats. Matt Cullen, not as many great stats, but you just can't, that leadership and that veteran leadership that Matt Cullen brings, I think really helped them crucially win those 2 cups.
So number 7, definitely Espo. I get to hear Espo all the time because he's one of the founders of Tampa, and now he does the radio broadcast. Most of them, not all of them now. He used to do all of them. Now I think he's only doing like half of them or so. But I get to hear him all the time. He's hilarious. Hates the referees with a passion, which I love. He's always yelling at them or laughing at them. And then for another player from Tampa, Rob Zaminer, underrated player from the early 90s. Former, I don't know if you know this, Dean, former New York Ranger. He was there for 9 games.
9 games.
He had 3 points in 9 games for the Rangers.
That's impressive.
And then he's like, I got to get out of here, and went to Tampa.
That's more than Dylan McGrath.
Oh, man.
And he had a career year, 96, 97, 50 points, and the Zams. He was a good guy. He was very tan, which I liked. You don't see a lot of tan players.
Eric on Facebook Live asked who was the last Ranger to wear number 6, and it would be, of course, Dylan McElrath, who was a first-round pick from the Rangers in, I think it was 2015 or 2014, and the reason why they drafted him because he was big. So.
And that's about it, yeah. He was drafted in the first round, and that's about
it.
God damn it. So stupid. Anyways.
Onward.
Number 8, I mean, Ovi. I don't think you can really have anyone else. This guy didn't even listen to anybody else that was wearing 8, so that's how.
Solani.
Yeah. How does he not even write Teemu Solani?
Yeah, I don't know. I noticed that as well. But Teemu Solani, the only reason
I actually think of Solani first before I think of Ovechkin, because I think I grew up watching Solani, and Ovechkin came later. But I
think I'll give it to Ovechkin just because Solani didn't wear number 8 every season. He also wore number 13. So I'll give it to. I mean, obviously Ovechkin is unbelievable force in the NHL. But Teemu Solani is also, I mean, the guy was unbelievable. But like Schwim said, I mean, you think of Ovechkin first when you think of 8, the great 8, Alex Ovechkin, but I mean, Teemu Solani is no slouch. So, but I'll give it to Ovechkin just because he's wore his whole career. And with props to my number 8 all-time Penguin, Mark Recchi, the Wrecking Ball.
Wrecking Ball.
Art well, and help
former Tampa Lightning.
Again, help Pittsburgh win 2 cups in the early 90s.
You ready for mine?
Okay.
I'm ready.
This times 2. His rookie year, he was number 8. Wore for 1 season because I think somebody else was wearing 4 when he came into the league, and he wanted to be number 4 because of his idol was Jean Beliveau, who wore number 4, obviously. So for his rookie year, I think I had a poster of him on my wall when I was younger, of him wearing number 8 in that jersey. So yeah, he was number 8 for 1 year, and then he switched to 4, and then the rest is history,
as they say.
All right.
Another easy.
Yep.
Number 8, obviously, I was going to touch base on Solani real quick about, that's 76 goals in his rookie season was just ridiculous.
Unbelievable.
And
I don't know if we'll ever see that again.
Yeah, I mean, he smashed Mike Bossy's record, and I mean, yeah, it's so hard. It's going to be impossible. But Rangers, really quickly, there's obviously Jacob Trouba's wearing 8 now, so hopefully he turns out to be the best guy I've seen wear 8. But Kevin Kline was a really good Ranger for a while, and then Brandon Prust, even though he broke, Brandon Prust, even though he broke Stepan's jaw in the playoffs, he was a great guy, good guy on the fourth line. So number 9, Gordie Howe. I mean, he's the reason why Gretzky wears 99, and Bobby and Brett Hull, Mr. Hockey. Unfortunately he passed away a couple years ago, but absolutely one of the guys, think about, hockey, he's one of the guys you bring up. So, I mean, it's tough not to give it to him.
Yeah, I mean, when you think of hockey, I mean, obviously you think of Gretzky, but Gordie Howe, I mean, is right there also. And there have been some phenomenal players to wear number 9. I mean, Mike Piano, Maurice Richard said Bobby Hull. I mean, the list is of just phenomenal. And of course, I think every one of them picked it because of Gordie Howe at some point growing up. No contest. Gordie Howe wore number 9 the best, without a doubt. And I think I know it's a very common number, but I mean, I wouldn't argue if number 9 was retired throughout all the league, just like
I agree. Yep. I also think Bobby Orr, also should be retired, but
yeah, I mean, I don't know how many numbers they're going to retire league wide. I think they need to be. There's really just the one. There's obviously just one right now, but yeah, we'll see. I don't think anybody would argue with retiring Gordie Howe's number league wide, but
no, yeah.
Favorite Penguin, Ron Francis did wear it, but I'll wait for him for number 10. Spoiler alert. But my Pascal Dupuis, love the guy to death. Great player. Any hockey player. I mean, with a hockey player with in NHL standards with not the most talent, but the work ethic, every single shift, every single youth hockey player should look at him play and just mirror how he plays. That's how every hockey player should play.
Yeah, my number 9, again, Howe, Modano were the first 2 people I thought of. Modano, American-born scorer, high scorer, Gordie Howe, obviously. And also Gordie Howe had his picture in a Simpsons episode that Bart put on, I think, a letter for Miss Krabappel.
That's true.
Anywho, and then for my Tampa player, Tyler Johnson.
Okay.
Number 9. Still playing. So undrafted player, American-born kid, only 5'8".
I have a player tee.
He does have a player tee. I actually have a Pascal Dupuis player tee that I just found.
I didn't know that sharing. Are you guys just sharing shirts? You just
I don't know.
I found it. Laundry.
I don't know. I must have bought it when we went to a game in Pittsburgh or something. But yeah, so Tyler Johnson, number 9.
Rangers. Pavel Bure wore it, but obviously Adam Graves. I mean, wins the cup with the Rangers. He's got to be number 9. So, Eric actually did clarify. He said he didn't want to know who the last Ranger was to wear 6. He actually wanted to know who the last player to give Lindros a concussion was. And if you're asking Stevens, it's actually not Stevens. That was probably the worst one he's had, but it was definitely not the last one he's had. So
that was a bad one.
Yeah. That hit that elbow. You could just see that elbow in your sleep. Oh my god.
He's the only one who didn't see
it. Yeah, because his head was already past him.
Oh my god.
Number 10, Guy Lafleur. you also had Dale Hawerchuk, who played in the shadow of Gretzky, and he was brilliant in his own right. So, number 10, I'd have to go with Artemi Panarin right now. But JT Miller actually had some good years. So did Marian Gaborik. So you can't go. Rangers actually had some pretty good 10s on this list. So Peter Nedved, Esa Tikkanen wearing it during the Cup run. So a lot of good 10s.
Yeah, I mean, Pavel Bure also wore number 10 very well. But yeah, Guy Lafleur, I'm giving probably wore 10 the best out of anybody playing with the number 10. However, Ron Francis also should be in that discussion.
Absolutely.
Overall.
I forgot about Ronnie.
Yeah, one of my all-time favorite Penguins, Ron Francis. So obviously my pick, but definitely in the discussion for wearing it best with Guy Lafleur and Pavel Bure as well. But yeah, that's my
Sean
choice.
Chappell with best Penguins player of all time, Ronnie franchise.
I mean, if you want to eliminate Mario Lemieux and Jaromir Jagr,
and Jaromir Jagr,
Sidney Crosby, and getting
Sidney Crosby,
Fleury.
No, I mean,
I would put Francis.
Yeah,
he's probably top 5. No, top 3. You can't do top 3.
I mean, if you,
I could put him top 3.
I think
who would you
can
put him over?
You can make an argument.
I'm not saying he's number 1.
You can make an argument if you eliminated Mario Lemieux, Jaromir Jagr, and Sidney Crosby.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you had those 3, those are the top 3 anyway. So you can't be top 3.
Yeah,
I'm putting him at number 3. Right, I love Ronnie.
Who are you kicking? Oh, no, hold on. Now, who are you kicking out?
Who am I kicking out? Let's see. Not Lemieux, obviously, and I guess not. I guess I'm gonna have to bump Jagr. Jagr's gonna have to get bumped.
What?
Gotta bump Jagr.
Wow.
And you know why?
Because he didn't play for your team.
Yes, actually, I wanted him so bad the one year. And he got traded to I think the Stars or something like that, and I yelled at your brother. Yeah, but he was on the Rangers too, so no, I want Ronnie Francis. I'd rather have Ronnie Francis.
Actually, we should all wear our me and Steve should just wear our Jagr bomb shirts. And
that's another reason why I wanted a Jagr bomb shirt from.
You should have just made one. No one would have known that he didn't play for Tampa.
Nobody, I could tell them, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I remember that."
Shorts guy, just make him one.
Yeah,
just do it.
Yeah, Shorts guy, if you're out there, please make him a Tampa Jagr Bombs t-shirt. Yeah, Peter Nedved was also mentioned for the Rangers. So, that's the top 10. I thought it was a good list.
Wait, I have one more.
Sorry. Oh yeah, sorry, Schwim.
It's all right. It's gonna be short and sweet. And I literally wrote this on my paper. Gary Roberts was number 10 on Tampa when he was there for one season. He had 7 points, but man, could he exercise.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that guy exercises like nobody
exercise
else.
Phenom. I literally wrote that right there. That's it. Gary Roberts, number 10. Tampa's got nobody else.
Yeah. No, I mean, Sam, if he's out there, the voice of God, if he wants to chime in on any of these, I'm sure he's got some good numbers from the Devils, but we don't really care. So. No. Actually, one thing I did want to touch base on just quickly, I know we're winding down here, but Let's Go Devils podcast had an episode yesterday. Really good, one with Ryan Carter on it, and a couple other things. And they did say some good things about, what's going on in the state of hockey and also, just the state of, where we are as a country. So, tune into them. They had some good stuff. So if you get a chance to listen to their podcast, they're awesome. Sister station, Primetime Radio Network. So, just want to give them a little shout out. But, I mean, that's pretty much what I had on the docket. You guys got anything else you want to quickly touch base on? I know
going to tell you, this beer here is I'm giving it 4 or 5 because this thing is fantastic. If you can find this in the liquor store and I found this at Sandy's. I mean, I'm in Flanders, so if you can stop by there and pick it up, this thing is good.
And once again, Sig, the Sundial Series, Sunset Sherbet, really good beer. I gave it a 4 or 5 already, and I'm going to give it 4 or 5 again. So, Schwim, take her home, bud.
All right, I want to give a congrats, bienvenido to Xavier Gutierrez. He is the first Latino president and CEO of an NHL hockey team in the history of the league. So, bienvenido.
Very good, guys.
Peace.